Action cameras like the GoPro and the Sony have become a go-to for video storytelling. But when and how should you use them? Here's 7 tips for getting the most out of your camera. You want your viewer to connect with the story. You want them to feel as if they're experiencing the moment. That's the beauty of these cameras. But the first thing you have to do is give them a little bit of context. Simply shooting the action isn't going to cut it. That means you don't just capture the action, you capture everything before and after the event. Shoot more than you think you're ever going to need because, well, you can always pick and choose the best stuff in editing. For example, today it's not just underwater footage of fish, it's getting here, it's getting the gear ready, and it's heading to the water. These cameras, maybe more than any other, can transport a viewer to someplace fanciful. Imagine, they're hard to get to. The beauty of a GoPro is they help tell stories that are of the moment, unrehearsed, spontaneous. But an action camera is not the right choice for every shot. I like to think of it this way. Paprika, it's a great spice, but it's not the main part of a meal. Use a regular video camera or a DSLR for the majority of your story and spice it up with your action camera. We love these cameras because you can put them in unexpected places. They're tiny. You can put them in places you can't put a regular camera or a DSLR. But that means you need to use your imagination. Where can I mount the camera to give the viewer an unexpected perspective, something that brings my story alive? The lazy way to shoot is 5 feet off the ground at eye level. Get high, get close, get low. What'll capture the moment? Nobody wants to watch a shot that's randomly moving and shaking. These cameras are tiny and they show every move you make. So figure out how to stabilize your camera. Use a monopod or a flexible tripod or one of the gazillion mounts that are out there. Whatever you do, stabilize the camera. If you are going to use a selfie stick or a monopod, don't hold it with a death grip. Use a relaxed hand so that it'll absorb some of the energy from your arm and your body. If you do have to handhold it, move smoothly and evenly so that your audience doesn't feel whipsawed all around. These cameras are phenomenal at capturing events that happen in the blink of an eye, especially when you slow it down. It can feel dreamlike, otherworldly, magical. Most shots don't lend themselves to slow-mo, but one well-placed shot in your story can give it great drama. Okay, I don't want to get too deep into optics here, but the shape of your lens directly impacts the look of your shot. We measure lenses with something called field of view, how much you can see. For example, telephoto, normal, wide angle, and fisheye. Lens selection really affects interviews because a good talking head is usually framed head and shoulders using a normal or a telephoto lens. By design, an action camera uses a wide angle lens. It's more forgiving when you're guessing at your shot. But unfortunately, it's not very flattering for an interview. Most action cameras will let you adjust the field of view. Wide is about 130 degrees and is great for point of view shots. Medium covers about 110 degrees, and while technically still a wide angle, it's not as distorted. Narrow uses only about 75 degrees, and unfortunately doesn't use all the image sensor. None of these are a great option for shooting an interview. In fact, if I'm stuck, I'll use my smartphone before I use a GoPro for an interview. The audio on a GoPro blows. These cameras are designed for capturing great video, and the audio, well, it's more of an afterthought. There's no mic input on this camera, so in order to plug in an external microphone, you're going to have to use an adapter cable. But to use the audio cable, you have to take it out of the waterproof housing, which probably defeats the purpose of choosing this camera in the first place. What this means is you're going to have to use an external audio recorder to capture your sound. You can go professional with something like this. This is an H4n that I'm using today. Or go simple with your smartphone. When I use the smartphone, I like to use this microphone. It's an MXL lavalier microphone. What I like about it is not only is it a great microphone, I can plug headphones in so I can hear my audio when I'm recording, and I use the Zoom Handy Recorder app. It records great sound and it's free. There are a million ways to use these cameras. I've just talked about 7 of them. But I think it's important you consider using an action camera as only one of your sources, not your primary camera. Instead, use it for capturing footage your audience will remember.